What's up, everybody? It's Chopping It Up with Starshare with my sponsor, Richard Myers from the Myers Firm, PA.
Thank you. I'm not even going to mention how
streaking I am. I'm streaking.
Like you haven't screwed up in like 5 months.
Because I'm a child of God and I be streaking with it. Give me, you're welcome.
We're all children of God. What
Are you Richard?
Yes.
Are you Richard? Because you don't even believe
in
Jesus.
I am the chosen of the chosen.
You don't even believe in Jesus.
Yes, I do.
Well, you had a discussion.
He was a Jewish carpenter who lived like
You did have a discussion during our Christmas dinner at one point.
Yes.
And it was, your belief was more like an atheist.
No.
No?
Would you like me to explain to your audience what my belief in God is?
If you want to share.
As we go immediately off track.
No, we're not.
No, we can do that.
Because guess what?
No, we can do that
as soon as you start the show.
No. You know what? If you want to hear his belief, you're going to listen to what he has to say.
I can do it now, and then we go to my segment.
No, we're not going to. We're going to do the segment first.
Wow, you're disciplined.
Very, because I made an oath.
You didn't make it.
How come I don't have a cup with anything to drink?
Where was the oath?
Oh, somebody's complaining. We need an extra cup.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, anyways, guys, before he starts his segment, I just want to say shout out to PJ's Liquor Store on Del Mabry. You guys always been watching out. I can't wait for you guys to open up. Pete's Place.
Here.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Oh.
Always thinking about me.
You just continue hosting the show.
I appreciate you, Richard.
Just go right ahead.
Thank you.
I'm just a co-host.
Being such a great friend.
We're so excited that hopefully everything will be going back to normal. Everybody, the vibe has just changed so much. People came back from the quarantine because I'm a barber, and everybody's come back, and everybody changed.
Yeah, that's how it goes when hair doesn't grow.
Well, something like people just change.
Or
period.
Hair grows.
Like due to like the crisis.
For the better or for worse?
I would say for the better, maybe.
See, people are grouped into two camps now. The mask wearers and the people who are guilting non-mask wearers.
Okay.
That's what I see on the internet right now.
Mask wearers and non-mask wearers.
On all the social media. If you don't wear a mask, the mask wearers are saying, are you the most callous bastard ever?
You want everybody
why do you
to
want
die?
people to die?
You're so
And the non-mask wearer
selfish.
says, why do I have to kowtow to the government when the data shows that the chances of anyone getting it from me and dying are like 0.0001%? Anyway.
Sorry.
Are you going to get feedback now on the air?
No.
No.
All right, so where were we?
Mask wearers and non-mask wearers.
We'll come to that again. I'm just saying, people have changed, and I'm so excited to be back to work and cutting people, and I'm just like, wow, it sucks not to be in contact with everybody it was just bad. So hopefully everything comes back to normal very soon, and we'll be in Ybor City again, and Tangre, Coyote Ugly, and hopefully the business that we always are part of have not been, suffering that much from all this.
For real.
And Richard, I want to know more about that story you were telling me about that case. Do
about
you have
Jesus?
Any more? Well, Jesus is going to come back later.
So I have to, get everybody up to speed?
Yes.
Okay.
We need more info.
All right. So where we left off was I represent a wife in a divorce. Is this better?
Yes, much better.
There you go.
Okay. I was getting too relaxed.
Yeah, you're just way relaxing here.
I got to get back up to the mic.
Should I bring my ruler
Act like
next time?
I care.
Should I bring my ruler next time?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Or like a paddle, one of those things.
Bigger the better. All right, back to the reputable part of the show.
Yeah, because we're reputable. Okay, go.
All right, so we had the situation where I represent a wife, in which our position is that the soon-to-be former husband exaggerated or concocted abuse and sought and obtained an injunction and is using that essentially as a launching pad to the divorce action so that he has an advantage. He has exclusive use and possession of the marital home. He has about 98% of the time sharing with the children.
98% is really nothing. I mean, for the other person.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's actually less. As
like
it turns out now, It's less than 1% now.
So what is that? Like 2 hours a week?
No, it's actually it's 3 hours a week.
Damn.
Now, it sounds horrible, but things are turning around. We're talking about how through my representation, little baby steps moving forward, and I think there's going to be a radical change coming up this week because there's a hearing on an emergency motion that's going to be convening on Friday. So I'll be able to report on the next show what the result of it is. But my client is now visiting the children 3 hours a week at the former marital residence. And it's our allegation, in short, that the soon-to-be former husband has been poisoning the children, not physically, but in their minds.
Mm-hmm. It's called alienation?
Parental alienation.
Okay.
And it's really severe in this case, and it's provable. And the judge is catching on. So the judge already granted 2 motions that we had filed. And the last hearing, the judge said, if this continues, I'm going to make a radical change, including flipping custody. So that's what we expect to happen on Friday with this emergency hearing. Now, in many cases like this, and including this case, a guardian ad litem is appointed by the court in order to look after the best interests of the children. This guardian ad litem, who is a former judge, she's a great guardian ad litem. I don't have any problems with her. But she's, I guess, in my view, would be not yet buying into the parental alienation theory that we have. Because
How do you know? How do you know she's just trying to be
because
very
she
neutral?
files interim reports with the court. And
you have access to those reports?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody gets a copy of it. And without going into great detail, because the reports are detailed, the guardian ad litem seems to be taking the position the kids are very stressed in the situation, and so they're asking that mom do this or mom don't do that or whatever it is. And the judge at the last hearing said, I don't want the kids to be saying anything. They're kids.
Yeah, of course.
They don't get to control this at all.
Exactly.
But in my view, the guardian ad litem is basically saying, well, why don't we accommodate the kids? They're under a lot of stress. They're going to go through therapy. And if they ask for mom to do X, just mom should do it for the time being. And we're like, no. Mom was ordered to have 8 hours a week, okay, and dad blocked it for 3 months until we got an emergency hearing. And the judge says, you can't do that. Basically,
because it's obvious that he's doing the parental alienation.
But, yeah, and so the judge got on his case at the hearing, and I said, Your Honor, maybe as a baby step, so that we don't run into this huge problem with the husband alienating the children, why don't we work our client back into, because it's been 3 months since you've seen them. We'll just start off with 3 hours a week rather than the 8 that you previously ordered 8. We'll take 3. We'll do it for the time being. We'll report back to you how these visits are going. As long as they're going fine, we want to increase our time. So as we can see, and I don't want to go into great detail, but we can see from the video and the audio of these visits and from the written summaries of the visits,
they're being coached?
That they're totally coached. It's like a unified front. These 3 kids, they say the same stuff. They make up stuff that didn't happen, but they're all saying the same thing.
But you know what? There's like another part of that. Like, it is like the parent that's fighting for the child also suffers like some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder where he causes resentment towards the kid for being a liar. Right? You think
No,
the kids, like if they're lying.
Who's got the PTSD in your
like? I think maybe
scenario?
the other parent. You don't think the other parent would suffer a post-traumatic stress disorder from being lied about?
Who you're talking about? My client having the PTSD?
Oh no! Would you think that something like that would happen?
No, I think right now my client's being very because she has such a great lawyer. Mm-hmm. I told her how to behave, make sure these right.
Yeah.
So she's being very stoic. It pains her to see the kids act this way horribly, but she's not acting out on it.
I mean, not even her. It would be the kids too. Why does the system take so long when it's kids involved? Like that's
all right. Well,
deal.
Well, we have a system that's based on two sides have their own individual positions, not only as to the facts, but as to what law applies, right? So the judge can't simply say, this is how I see it from the beginning without taking full evidence. Evidence is going to come down at a trial someday. In the meantime, things are handled basically as things arise, like either on an expedited or emergency basis. So the judge can only decide on what's happening in the now. Okay? So when you say it takes so long, the judge isn't going to decide long-term what's in the best interest of the kids until all the facts at a trial come out. But in the meantime, if anything is right now acting demonstrably against the children's best interest, she has jurisdiction, the judge has jurisdiction to make a change. So that's what we've been showing with these visits. Is that the soon-to-be former husband is... I don't want to go into great detail,
That's
but it's
sad.
It's very sad. It's an extremely sad situation. And I find it kind of perplexing that the guardian ad litem is almost siding with the children in that, look, they're very stressed, they need therapy, and we're all getting therapy. Everybody's getting...
But I think that's their job.
What?
To do that. Maybe he doesn't want to, has he released a report on either parent? Has he said anything about
the guardian ad litem
Yes.
is a woman, so it's a she, and she has interviewed both parents. She has interviewed the kids, and she's now just taking information as it comes in. I mean, right now the kids are just starting their own therapy. And the individual parents are going through a psych eval.
Well, it's obvious that the kids are going to need therapy. Maybe that's the guardian ad litem. I believe in what she did. Those kids need to get some therapy ASAP.
Okay, the court's already ordered the therapy.
Yeah.
My client has done all the paperwork. If you had to guess who's blocking the progression of the therapy and the...
Obviously, the other parent.
Right. So we have no objection to
That's
all... Right.
Abuse.
That's part of the problem, is that's what irks me, that the guardian ad litem is yet... maybe she's thinking like I am, but it's not acting yet, because they have to reserve judgment. It's a very difficult position for a guardian ad litem at the beginning of a case to kind of choose a side. So she's trying not to choose a side.
She's trying to see who's going to fuck
But
up
she's
first.
saying, like, for example, there is a 15-year-old who's a very intelligent child, but is on a pathway like the International Baccalaureate program. Very, very smart. Okay? And she's got all these exams coming up now that are taken online because of COVID. Now, my client only gets to see her daughter 1 hour a week. And the daughter has requested that the visits be suspended because it's stressing her out and she can't study for exams. So can you imagine a child trying to take control over the mom who's only down to 1 hour a week with her, 1 hour a week, and is saying, I don't even want that 1 hour. I can't suck it up for 1 hour because, you know what, it's stressing me out and I won't be able to perform well in school. Well, you have 167 hours in the week, 168 hours in a week. 167 hours are not with the mom. Can you budget your time? I know as a single dad who raised 4 kids on their own, exceptional kids, they would never in a million years get away with that statement. Like, I don't want to see you this week, like, for 1 hour because I'm stressed out. I can't function. Well, I'm sure you're on Snapchat and Facebook and all, and doing your things that you want to do, right? But you want to make a power play and say, hey, I'm stressed over exams, so I don't want to see mom. So this request was made of us. Can we suspend these visits for this oldest daughter so she can study? And we're like, we're down to 1 hour, and that's voluntarily because we were supposed to have 8 hours. We're down to 1 hour with her.
Wow.
Okay, voluntarily, so we can
That
take
girl's
little.
gonna be stressed
And
without
now
the
she's like,
girls.
we don't even want the 1 hour, and I'm like, I'm fighting with the guardian ad litem over
He's a major
this.
douchebag.
Yeah, and he's orchestrating this, in our view. I mean, we don't, the evidence seems to me clear.
But you know what's crazy? There's people that get away with all this. You're defending this girl to the best I know this. I know family law. I've dealt with it so many times. Because why? Because I service so many people and they tell me their cases all day. You know what I mean? I know the rules. I know guidable items. I know everybody in Tampa. And the way this is, like, what's happening here is something that I already have heard before in other families, but they don't have the correct representation because you're handling this very thoroughly and on point.
Yeah, well, we're going to know on the next show whether we got custody flipped. I feel really confident. The problem that I have is that the last interim report of the guardian ad litem was, well, the kids are expressing a lot of stress. And so...
How does he know so much about the law?
It's a woman. That's the guardian ad litem.
The other guy. The guy that's getting divorced, the husband.
Yeah.
How does he know so much about family law?
He doesn't know anything about family law.
He's playing a lot of his cards.
No, he's just simply telling the kids.
Does he have a lawyer?
Yes. He's simply telling the kids, in our view, I don't want to make it sound like it's fact yet. In our view, based on all the evidence, he's orchestrating a pattern of conduct with the kids in order that it becomes a problem for my client to sustain any legitimate, fruitful, nurturing relationship with the kids. Okay? To the point where my client will say, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm just going to relinquish custody. That's his objective. That's what parental alienation is all about.
And it's also to exhaust funds, not to be able to pay for representation.
Yeah, okay. So, part of it is running through the system, so it's expensive for my client.
Horrible.
But at this point, I'm being fair to her.
Good, because you're a good
financially.
guy. 'Cause you're a good guy.
So I don't think that's...
And it sounds like you're very passionate about it because I know Richard, he's my friend. And, he doesn't care. He comes off sometimes crazy, but he's very passionate about his morals and about the law because he doesn't let me break the law. And I always want to. So, yeah, he's very like, oh,
Can we be clear on that?
All about it.
You break the law.
I just
admonish you for it. Then you say, thank you, sir.
Yes, I do. I do. It's because, when you have...
But don't be Star. Those of you who are listening. Come to me before you break the law so I can stop you from breaking the law. Don't come to me after you broke the law. What do you do for me? Help me. No, I'm just kidding you.
Yeah,
Star's an angel.
I am an angelic being. I keep telling that to everyone. Nobody believes me.
Anyway, so all of you that are listening, thank you for listening, and pay attention to
So what's the last thing you did? You filed a motion?
I filed an objection to the guardian ad litem's interim report. I filed a lengthy...
An objection to the guardian ad litem?
Yes.
Yikes. That's a little bit risky. I mean, how do you feel about that? Talk to me. That's like, bam.
All right. During the course of a case, a guardian ad litem, at their discretion, could file reports with the court and saying, this is what I recommend, or this is how I see it. They're calling balls and strikes as the case goes along, right? Mm-hmm. Well, my client learned that her soon-to-be former husband is renewing the passports for the children.
Yikes.
The history of this case has shown that he has been trying to get my client deported because she is a French national.
Wow.
And when that didn't succeed, guess what? Now he's trying to, in our view...
what a toxic situation.
Renew the passports of the kids so they can go back to their native country, which is France. Okay? So I filed a motion and say, look, they need to either submit their passports to the court or they reach an agreement or have a court order where they're not allowed to travel.
Yeah.
Okay. So the guardian ad litem files a report and says the kids are reporting a lot of stress, and they want to go to France for a month. I think they should go to France for a month.
No.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no. They'll never come back.
Ever.
So we did the hell no response when you said you filed an objection to the guardian's report. I'm like, of course, that's what I'm going to write.
Yeah.
Hell no.
After canceling one of our court dates because there was a bomb threat. Excuse me?
Wait.
Alleged bomb threat. How is that going to happen on the same day?
Okay, let's refresh our audience's memory. last week there was supposed to be an interview of the children by the judge. And an hour before the interview of the children, at which I'm absolutely confident the children are going to say, Dad's telling me to say this and telling me to say that. Right before the interview, there was a bomb threat at the courthouse.
What a coincidence.
Coincidence. And so it was canceled. And it was put off for another month.
Of course it was.
And it was right after the cancellation of that interview that the kids' passports were renewed.
Another coincidence.
It's coincidence.
Allegedly.
Anyway, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And now I'm going to ask you some questions about the lawyer stuff, Richard.
Okay.
You ready?
I have answers.
Okay.
No!
Damn. So when I started my business, so I was in corporate America for a little bit. And I was like in a leadership position in my corporation. And they made me take a program called Landmark. You ever heard of that?
Sounds familiar.
It's like a leadership program.
Okay.
Like you go to this and you have breakthroughs and stuff, but it's like a really hardcore, intensive leadership program.
Right.
So if you're going to be CEO or like head of a department or like even like lawyers and stuff, a lot of people have taken Landmark. I took it. So they teach you about like commitment, about like when it's about your job. Mm-hmm. Like, do you find yourself sometimes like struggling with attachment versus commitment to like a case?
No.
It's always
my clients need to understand. That's a great question. Mm-hmm. But once I take a case, their cause is my cause.
Have you been lied to?
Yes.
How do you feel when that happens?
Okay. I think every lawyer who's listening in.
Okay, lawyers, 1-800
Every
lawyers.
lawyer has learned at some point that their client has massaged the truth.
Yikes.
Okay? All right. Your job is to take whatever you think is factual and advocate for your client the best you can given the facts. So even if your client was less than truthful, as long as it wasn't a fraud, as long as, again, you got to imagine, we're all human beings. We all slant, things to your favor.
Not me, though. I'm honest.
Let me
I'm
give you
saying,
an example.
Richard, this is what I did.
The best way to answer this question is to illustrate by example. Mm-hmm. So I was representing this woman who had a
I love his stories.
A sexual orientation discrimination case.
Like what?
Now, just
being gay or lesbian or something like that?
She was lesbian.
Okay.
Now, just for our audience, it's not a protected class of people yet on a federal level. Like if your orientation is homosexual, it's not a protected class. There's no separate class of if you're homosexual, you're entitled to civil rights protection.
Is this only in Florida or everywhere?
No. On a federal level, that's national.
Okay, so federally.
States and municipalities, like cities, or counties, can themselves decide whether they want to have protections for a sexual orientation. The city of Tampa has such a provision.
Jane Castor, shout out to you.
No, well before her, but shout out to you, Jane Castor.
Yes. She's part of the big movement here she is a very big supportive person in the LGBTY community. Is that how you say it?
Close enough. Yes. Close enough.
I mean, she's a supporter, and she is a non-discriminator. I love Jane Castor.
Okay.
I love you. Okay. Oh, and Lena Tejeda.
All right,
I gotta give her a shout out. Lena Tejeda. She's actually running from city council for Clearwater District.
Vote for her.
Vote for Lena Tejeda. Okay.
All right. Now, are we going to get punished because we're on the air? We supported a candidate. We have to give equal time to the other candidate now?
No, we're not.
Okay. All right.
I just want to give a shout out to them bad bitches.
All right, so where was I? Classic.
Well,
where was I, Serge?
I don't know. You're going to have to start from the top.
Anyways, we were talking about attachment versus commitment. You know, when I asked that question about attachment versus commitment, and you gave me the whole story of the lady.
Oh, so the sexual orientation.
Yes.
Okay. So talking about someone who's lied to you, like if you have a client lie to you. All right. So I'm representing this client for like a year, and we're going to trial. So it's maybe 2 months before trial, and finally the other side is taking my client's deposition. And a deposition is her sworn testimony, court reporter taken and everything. So before her deposition, I'm sitting down with her, and I said, listen, this is a time where I know we've known each other a long time, but all your skeletons have to be out of the closet. I need to know everything. If there's anything you didn't tell me that I ought to know, it's got to be now.
Oh, shit.
Okay. I've told you everything. Mr. Myers, my God, I've told you everything.
Yikes.
All right. So now, before I tell you the remainder of the story, it's important to know that when you're suing for discrimination, a large part of your damages is compensation for emotional distress. All right, so we're seeking compensation for her emotional distress because she was unjustly terminated as a result of her orientation at work. Okay? Deposition starts. After her name and social security number and all that comes out, first question from opposing counsel. Could you tell me the circumstances surrounding the first time you were Baker acted? Now, Baker acting, again, for our audience, Baker
It's a big
acting
deal.
is when you are involuntarily committed to a mental institution for evaluation to determine whether or not you're going to continue to be harmful to yourself or others.
Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to get Baker acted just for the fact that I just wanted to get, like, you know what they put in your vein, like, just you can knock out? That's all.
You wanted to be...
But not...
committed to a mental institution involuntarily to get drugged.
Because I was like...
Let me understand this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
For the experience.
Okay.
You know how funny
I don't know what do I do from here now. Just for the experience.
Proceed, Richardo.
Anyway, so that's the first question in the deposition. I'm like, this is after I sat down with my client. I said, I need to know everything. 4 times.
What was she Baker acted
Baker
for?
acted 4 times.
For what?
One time was for a drug overdose. One time was for... She was fighting with her lover, and she ran out to the middle of the street and put a shotgun in her mouth and was threatening to blow her head off in the middle of the street. So we're trying to get mental anguish damages for the discrimination.
Damn.
Yet she's got 4 times she was Baker acted for acting
mental disorders.
Yeah, so what jury is going to award her a lot of money for what the employer did when she's already
fucking crazy,
right? So that's when you ask me an example of a client like not telling you the truth.
Wow.
That happened, and like all lawyers will tell you.
What is the reaction of what a lawyer should do at that moment when you find out that okay, you're working. And because I know that when you're an attorney, or like, you see, for me in my career, I want to do the whole completion of it. And you want the completion of your task because you are detail oriented and you want to complete the task or whatever. And that's how you satisfy yourself. So what do you do when that happens and you can't reach the goal because the whole thing was a fucking charade?
All right. So there are a lot of bar rules that come into play.
Do tell.
You can't knowingly continue to put on a case knowing it's false. Now, her allegations were still true. She was discriminated against. This all boiled down to her damages. How can I prove how harmed she was by the activity if she was already mentally damaged, if you will, right? Okay, prior to the discrimination. So my obligation then was to try to get the maximum settlement out of it. I had to tell my client I didn't want to take it to trial anymore because it wasn't worth the expense and the time because the settlement value crashed.
Of course.
Right, because they dug deep. They had obviously a private investigator and find out, her mental history. which should have been disclosed to me at the outset. I would have been able to battle, at least develop a battleground or a battle plan, I should say, for such a disclosure. But I was completely sideswiped at the deposition. So I told my client, "You're going to have to. We're no longer going to trial. I'm not taking a trial."
Wow.
And so you're going to have to settle it. I can't obviously disclose the terms of the settlement, but we settled it for maybe 10 cents on the dollar at that point. Oh, Mr. Myers, I didn't know it was important.
Well, morals of the
I didn't know that would matter.
Morals of the freaking story. You got to be honest to your attorney.
Tell your lawyer everything. I don't care, good or bad.
Listen,
the lawyer needs to develop a plan.
He doesn't even like me. And I tell him everything. He don't even like me.
All right, so what's the subject for today?
The subject is you. So I have another question.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Did you know that?
Okay, more.
Okay, yeah, I have one. I'm going to have more questions.
Okay,
because see, I want to know I know the attorney world because I have attorney clients. I have a lot of them. But, Richard is my favorite. From the Myers
what's
firm,
your question?
PA. Myers from PA, y'all. Am I saying it again right?
The Myers from PA. Y'all.
Okay. Y'all.
Yeah, right.
I learned y'all in Florida. I never said y'all until I got here. I'm learning shit.
From Long Island.
Yeah, Richard is a Jewish from Long Island.
He's a Jewish.
Listen, my mother always told me, if you're going to get a lawyer, you get a Jewish one from Long Island. Now I got one.
Yeah, my mother used to say the same thing.
Goals.
Because she was Jewish. All right, but go ahead.
Okay, so have you ever had like a very sad case? Like you were just like heartbroken over it? Like what's the worst case that you were heartbroken over?
Heartbroken? I mean, there's different ways to be heartbroken on the case.
Which is the one that you think about?
When you think you're totally going to win and then you don't get the win. Or heartbroken like the result I got
but this was like
less than what the client expected, but a good result for me. You know what I mean? Like I tell a client, here's the range of possible results. And if it's in the top 20% of the possible results and the client wants the top 1%, they're going to be disappointed.
What percentage are you, though, before we get to that, you answer that question? What percentage are you of an attorney? What percentage of you is like employment law? What percentage of you is
the
family
breakdown
law?
in the areas of my practice?
What is like your biggest
It's
focus?
changed over time, but when I started my own practice 16, 17 years ago, it was almost exclusively...
I was a baby then, by the way.
It was almost exclusively employment law. I would say about 90% employment law, maybe 10%.
Why did you choose employment law?
Because that's what I was doing in a law firm before I went on my own.
What do you like so much about it?
Well,
because you hate these fucking
bosses? It didn't start out with a choice. I mean, when I joined the law firm a long time ago, it was like, we'd like you to handle these cases that no one else wants to handle. I was at a firm, it was like a 7-attorney firm, and like we get a lot of calls for employment law, but no one else handles it. We want you to handle it. So it wasn't like, oh, can I please handle employment law cases? Send them to me. It was, that's what you're going to be doing. So I started doing more and more and more of it, and I realized I can do this on my own and make my own law firm out of it. So when I first started my firm, it was doing about 90% employment law and 10% like contract disputes, because I always did commercial law before I became involved in employment law. I was doing commercial disputes. But over time, the more people I've served in that arena, they're like, oh, I have a brother or I have a cousin or whatever it is that needs a divorce. Will you handle it? And at first, I was handling the divorces only if they were not contested. Mm-hmm. Come to me with the final paperwork, because I didn't have any litigation experience in it early on. Mm-hmm. But over time, I started like dabbling in like things that were more contested. I got better at it, and to the point where I think I'm really good at it. And I'm like, now I would say my practice is about
I have a question.
50-50.
I have a question. Are you on my time or your time right now?
I'm on whatever time you say it. It's your show, right? Did I answer that right?
Well, guess what? You did your segment. Now it's my time, right?
That's why I asked you 5 seconds ago.
Okay, we're still talking
What's
about you,
the
though.
topic of the day?
We're still talking about you.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, now I'm gonna drop the bomb now, because I waited this whole time.
Okay, you were very patient.
Yeah. Okay. Would you say that you picked, because let me tell you something. Richard Myers from the Myers Firm, PA, he specializes in employment law. Now, I don't know if you know, but when you call a lawyer and you tell them you have an employment situation, they like brush you off. They don't want to do that litigation. They don't want to even stress. A lot of lawyers don't
who don't
even
specialize in it. You mean?
A lot of lawyers, they'd rather not because it's not worth it. They want divorces, lawsuit cases, or whatever.
Yeah.
But you chose to be like, nah, I'm going to come to this fucking courthouse and we're going to win this case because you're being discriminator. You're a discriminator, and now you got to pay.
You're a victim of discrimination.
You're a victim of discrimination.
And, right, so I take those cases on.
But
now,
you know what?
I want everybody to know.
But then I have to associate one thing. That's why I told you, am I my time or your time, mister?
I'm at your mercy.
Okay. Do you think that has to do with you being a sapiosexual?
Sapiosexual?
Sapiosexual. Do you think that has to do because you have to be stimulated mentally the whole time? And that's why you chose like the hardest shit?
This is dovetailing into something that, okay. All right.
But I'm not going to, we're still...
Being a sapiosexual means that I don't have a physical attraction to somebody unless I'm first mentally attracted.
Yep.
So I don't bring that into my practice at all.
But do you think that's a behavior of a person? Because you are very intellectual, right?
Yeah.
And I think that employment law is like very crappy. There's so many loopholes that you can break and still win.
Any area law, really, any area law that's any area law. I'll be that broad. Any area law requires a lot of thought and not necessarily like serious intellect, but it takes a lot of diligence and patience and get through it. Because, like any profession, there's a range of attorneys there are some attorneys that have inherent intellect and can master it right away, and there are other attorneys that have to work really hard at their craft, right? And they're all equally good. Mm-hmm. It's just your different approach. But I don't know what the sapiosexual part has to do with it.
I mean, like, I'm trying to analyze you as a person.
I didn't choose to become a lawyer or that area of law because
the need of winning?
It's two completely separate concepts. I chose the law because my dad said I'm not paying for med school.
Bam.
Okay, so the law wasn't some magical thing for me. Like,
so who paid for your brother? Okay, so can I get into some family tree? Can I get into the family tree right now?
This opens up the door. Okay.
Can I get into the family tree right now?
What?
Okay, who paid for your brother's med school?
My brother's a physician's assistant.
No, the one that's a fucking...
The one that's a surgical physician's assistant.
No, the other one. The neurologist. Or the whatever.
The urologist?
Urologist.
He is a surgical physician's assistant for a urologist.
Oh, so you're... I have to say something.
So he does those things. What? Look, we're going on dead air here.
Okay,
what?
We gotta take a pause.
Wow, really?
No.
Yes or no?
No, why?
Okay.
Why? What?
Okay, so your dad paid for your school?
God, another long story.
Damn. Let's not do the long story.
All right, so I was a school teacher first. Remember that?
What? I never knew that.
I taught biology and physical science.
Why you never told me?
You didn't listen.
Because I'm not that important.
No, because you haven't listened.
Because maybe I was, but I didn't at the same time. Because
you knew it at one point.
Well, yeah.
But there's only so much space in that brain, so that when you learn a new fact, an old fact just leaves.
I know.
Okay.
Proceed.
Okay.
He was a teacher.
So I was a school teacher first.
What grades?
9th grade.
Were there any like MILFs that you talked to?
In 9th grade, were they
mothers?
I would like to.
Did you ever date a mother?
When they were 14.
Did you ever?
Is that what you're asking me?
Did you ever date a mother of the kids?
No.
Good.
Not to say if I. Okay.
off air.
No.
Not to say if it ever happened,
No.
I would have been down right now. But
No, but there, like I remember.
In Florida, you did this?
If
Anybody's
there's
my baby
this
mama?
remote chance, Tammy Osborne, if you're listening. There's a funny story actually, because when I was a school teacher, I was 21 years old. The first time I had a teaching job, and I was teaching.
What grades? Ninth grade.
Ninth grade. So
Where?
At McLean Middle School or Junior High.
Where's that?
In Brandon.
I used to work.
In Brandon?
Yeah.
What? She went to that school.
From
I will
now
introduce.
on-
I will
from now
introduce my
on-
other people.
For now on, we're talking to Jocelyn, which is.
Jocelyn, I was going to introduce her after we did his segment, and I was
But
going to give my
because of this
bullshit.
exchange, Jocelyn, you now must always refer to me as Mr. Myers.
Listen, Jocelyn is in the house today. Thank you, everyone who always was there for us when she was in the hospital. She decided to come to the studio today. She's tired of being freaking home. And
She'll
she's never
defend
been
her
here.
territory, too.
And she defends my territory. She is my main one. My firstborn. And my boyfriend's here today, too.
Anyway, it's 10 to 9, and you need to get on your subject of the day.
My subject of the day.
Which is what?
I gotta tell you that it is about parenting.
Okay.
It's about parenting today.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I just want to say, I was a kid once.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And sometimes I'm like, dude, my kids are like on steroids because like I was a lot calmer at their age, but I was still bad. And my kids are like bad on steroids sometimes, but I love them.
Okay. It's leading to somewhere.
But I want to tell you something that I have my daughter Jocelyn here today, and she is just a really good girl.
Yeah, I'm opposite of what her rebellious phase was.
She's a good girl. My mom told me always.
Okay.
My mom always told me that I was going to pay double. Well,
All right, so you told me, maybe this is a challenge at this point for you.
what?
But you told me there was a subject to the show.
There is a subject to the show.
What's the subject?
What was the worst thing you did to your parents?
Okay. What's the worst thing you did to your parents?
The worst thing I did to my parents. I gotta think about this. What was the worst thing you did to your parents, Serge? Since you haven't been,
I can't think of anything.
you better
he's
think right
backing
now.
out. Serge
They've
used
all
to be
been
an
bad.
active participant in the show, and back when the show was rocking, and now it's rocking like it's like it went from an A+ to an A-. We need that little oomph from you. No,
I'm
there's
sorry.
no-
What are we looking at? Are we looking at me?
What's the worst thing you?
Did
I
your
can't
parents?
think of nothing.
Well, think of something.
I'm a child of God.
Yo, you're not a child of God.
My parents.
You're the bad one.
My parents are great.
All right, let's go right to you.
What was the worst thing I did to my parents?
Yeah.
I think the worst thing I did to my parents was like disappear for a few years.
A few years.
No contact whatsoever.
No contact whatsoever. And
When did you leave? At what age?
I want to say probably like 20 something to, it was in my 20s. It was probably like 6 years.
Were you living at home, or you just already left the home?
I didn't live in my parents' house since I was like 15.
So you were living alone,
I lived on my own.
and then you just decided not to. Did you leave, or did you decide to cut people off?
I left and I cut people off.
Where'd you go to?
My own place. I had my own place.
All right. Let me make sense of this. When did you first leave your parents?
I left my parents when I was like almost turning 16.
Okay. So from 16 to whatever time.
I had a connection, but then like I left in, I want to say I didn't have contact with my parents for like a good 6 years, and it was like when I came to Florida.
What period of time, what ages were you when you had cut off your parents?
I want to say it was like 22 to like 29.
Okay. And that's the worst thing you've done?
That's the worst thing I've done to my parents.
Was just not call them?
Huh?
Just not call them and not
No
communicate with them?
contact, like...
Now, so what prompted you to do that? Was it a relationship that was isolating you, or you decided on your own, I don't want to be talking to them?
It was a multi. It was a lot of things. It was a lot of things.
Okay.
Like
Do I need to charge you for a therapy session
No,
here?
no. I'm just saying that was the
Okay.
worst I did to my parents. But then I woke up from that and I made it right. You know what I'm
But
saying?
what was going through your mind back at the time you
I
decided I got to
guess
cut my parents off?
It just happened. It was not like I want to cut my parents off. It was like my parents are gonna say bad. Like, my parents are gonna yell at me. I didn't want to get in trouble.
For what you were doing?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
Like I left New York. They
Okay.
were mad at me because I did that. You know, little things, like not bad things. But you know, my family is different. Like my parents and my siblings were very close.
All right, but I think there's a lot of people probably listening, and it's like, you know what? There were times where I didn't want to talk to my parents, and I went years, and I regret it. But,
And then,
but
you
that's
know-
not an awful. That's not a like. Well, I guess to them it was awful to lose touch with their kid, right? But
Have you lost touch with your kids at all?
I no. Actually, the short answer is no. I haven't lost touch with my kids. My kids do not agree with me on a lot of subject areas, and so it becomes difficult to talk without ending up in an argument. But we've never lost touch.
It's very hard to parent. Parenting is hard.
No kidding.
It's like I
But-
can tell you
but-
all the tricks, but you know what? At the end of the day, they're going to do what we did. We want to find out for ourselves.
But you brought up this subject for a reason, right?
I did.
What was the reason?
The reason is because sometimes, you know, I am a parent too. Outside of Starshare and everything. And sometimes, you know, you have to make a call. You make a call and you try to be righteous in it. And then sometimes you don't even know you're being righteous
A decision as a parent.
as a parent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And, you know, in my situation, it's like, you know, you may not see eye to eye with the other parent on the other side. But when something significant happens, you have to communicate with that person. You have to decide, hey, this is, how can we handle this?
What do you mean by parent on the other side?
Like, you know, the other parent
Of who?
of a child. Like, if you have a child, you have two parents.
Oh, you mean your okay, either the dad.
The father
Okay.
or the mother or whatever. You know, you always have to come to a conclusion. But then you go to the same thing, like, of your case. You know, there's no conclusion there. Those people are not going to help each other for those
Nope.
kids.
Nope. Absolutely not.
You know? So, like, you know what I'm saying? So then you have the, like, yes, we're going to go through ups and downs, but we're going to have to work it out type of people. And you have those people that hate each other so much that the kids are like, you can't find a solution.
This is not to
But then
drag
you
you down.
have-
It's not to drag you down at all.
But then
But
you
when you
have
told me
you.
the subject of the show,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me something really like, "Oh my God, I poisoned my parents," or
Oh, hell no.
like that's the worst thing you ever done.
What the fuck did you do?
No, I didn't do that either.
I'm
But
trying
I'm
to
like, oh, you brought up the subject because I was going to hear like, oh, I basically just lost contact with my parents.
I lost contact with my parents for a little while, and that was the worst thing. Because you don't understand, Spanish people, we have to talk to our parents every day.
Yeah.
We that's how. But now I'm that. I'm that.
Right.
Like, me and my parents are very close. That was the worst thing I ever.
But
did
do you
to
know things that of people in your life that did nasty things to their parents?
them. Did you do nasty things to your parents?
I asked you.
Yes, I know. I know people that've done bad things.
Well,
to their
without
parents.
dropping names, let's hear some stories
Okay.
about the worst things that people have done to their parents. That's why I wanted
The worst thing that I've heard that I've seen somebody do to their parents is this.
Uh-oh. Without
Okay,
giving names.
hold on. Shout out to my daughter Jocelyn. She's in the house. Jocelyn,
Uh-oh.
scream so the radio can hear you.
Is this going to be a personal story now?
No, it's not. It's no. I'm allegedly saying
I'm a good child. What are you talking
that
about?
is a child of God, right there.
Okay.
My sacred piece.
All right, so go ahead. Continue.
Okay. The worst thing that I ever seen in a family thing, right, was this. I was like a doctor's assistant one time, and the son came in, and the mom was like 98 years old, right? Never came there ever. They were from Fifth Ave in New York City, right? They come in there and do a little quick physical.
Who's getting the physical?
The mom. The mom is like 98 years old.
The son brought the mom in for her physical.
And the girlfriend, yeah.
Wait. His girlfriend.
Yeah, they never, ever came to my office before because I used to run that shit.
So, wait. The mom, who's 98,
Came
the
for
son
physical.
and the son's girlfriend.
Booked the physical.
For just the mom?
Yes.
But all three of them are there.
Yes.
Okay, but none of those three were ever in this doctor's office before.
Ever.
Okay. I got it down.
I'm doing all the paperwork and shit, and I'm like, I take her in the back, and I do her vitals and stuff, and like I'm looking at her file or whatever, and I see she lives on Fifth Ave.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
This was like 10 years ago. Fifth Ave is a big deal.
Right.
Still, even. So then she dies the next day. Okay. We get a package for me to fill because I'm the manager of this medical office, and they want the doctor to sign her medical certificate form. So then we get a basket.
Meaning the cause of death?
No, because when you're 98 years old, you will not get you won't get
An
a
autopsy.
biopsy.
An autopsy.
Autopsy, whatever.
Autopsy.
Autopsy.
Thank you.
It will not happen because you're 98 years old. So you died of natural causes because you're 98. Okay?
No,
That's the law, Richard, because I looked into this shit.
so someone could be poisoned and be evidence of poisoning, and they don't autopsy a 98-year-old woman because they'll presume it's natural causes.
Yep, because she's old.
That's wrong.
Well, guess what? It happened.
That's not right.
It happened.
Okay.
So they come in there, and guess what? I get the freaking paperwork from the funeral home that my doctor has to sign it.
Yeah.
And he has to sign it because that was the last doctor that saw her.
Okay.
So she's now a patient.
Yeah.
And he signed the death certificate of natural causes because he had no autopsy.
Where is the story about the worst thing that was done to a parent?
Well, guess what? His son killed the fucking mother.
That's pretty bad.
For fucking
Oh,
money.
that's what you're intimating?
Yes.
All right, so you told a story. How did you learn that the son had something to do with her death?
Because he bought us flowers and he was like, "Thank you for no." It was too much. It was too much.
He acted too distraught.
He bought us flowers. She only been there one time. We see clients every day for one time. Like, you're not significant to us.
So
she was not our. She was not our patient.
To cover up his fake reaction.
Because he needed somebody.
He
to
wanted to
sign
look
it.
sincere.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, my poor mom. Here's flowers. Signed a certificate."
No, he signed us.
So-
He sent us lunch and flowers and said, "Thank you for taking care of my mom so good." You only came one time.
And because of that, you concluded he was a murderer.
Of course. I mean, not only did she have a fucking apartment on
Hey,
Fifth
listen.
fucking Ave.
My mom was the last.
Oh,
You
killed
were
your mom too?
you were the last people my mom saw, and I thank you for your time for seeing her. Here's some flowers,
Why would you go to Long Island when you live in Manhattan?
and because he did that, he's a murderer.
Of course.
Of course.
I mean, like, she lives on Fifth Ave. They want that apartment. She's the owner.
Oh, that's where the Fifth Avenue comes in.
Yeah.
She had to be worth a ton of money,
She's a...
therefore she was murdered.
Of course.
And you blame it on the son because he was kind
What are the
to your
odds
because
of
he was
coming
kind to your medical practice.
What are the odds of her coming in? You know what? You know whose friend I'm going to be with? Carol Baskins.
Carol, you're welcome on the show anytime.
Yes,
Come on.
Carol Baskin, I gave you a shout out last week. I need you on my show. I'm going to send you a Facebook message.
You were supposed to have already done that.
I know.
But I want to go back to the subject today.
What's the worst you done to your mom, Richard? I want to know.
My mom used to send me once a month a check for $360 to cover, when I was in college, my rent and my food and my utilities. The worst thing I ever did was on every monthly check, I would take 2/3 of it and spend it on drugs and alcohol. For food and utilities, I struggled. There you go. I lived a college life, man.
Good for you.
I got good grades. You know, everything
I
worked
mean,
out.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie.
But,
I've
you know-
always lied to my mom. My mom knows I'm lying.
With everything?
Not a lot of things, but mostly.
So when does your mom know you're telling the truth?
My mom knows me. But you know what? She loves me knowing that I'm lying to her.
Wait, so if she knows you're lying
Mhm.
and she knows when you're telling the truth,
Yep.
why lie?
Because I got to. She does it for me like that. She just can't handle the truth.
But she knows it's a lie right away then.
I
So why
know.
don't you just always tell the truth?
I don't know. But that's how we work in my family. I have to lie to her. She knows I'm lying.
You're just all about the drama aspect of it.
No, we're no drama
Le-
about it, right,
No.
Jocelyn?
Let's
we don't
go
talk
through the
about it.
lie, then
We
you're going to
don't- we
find
don't-
out I'm lying,
Listen,
then I'm going to say,
I'm
oh my
lying
God,
to
you
my
caught me
mom.
lying. I really
I don't want to
didn't.
hurt her feelings. You know what I mean?
But she knows when you're lying.
She does know when I'm lying.
So you're not hurting her feelings.
Then sometimes I don't talk to her because I'm going to lie. But Jocelyn's such a saint. I gifted my mom my daughter.
Wait. Jocelyn's such a saint. This is what I'm understanding this. She sees mom lying,
Listen.
and she comes in and says, Grandma, mom's lying to you.
No, Jocelyn and my mom are like the same person. For real. Yes or no, Jocelyn?
I wouldn't say 100%.
Not 100% because she likes tattoos. My mom will not
wait
go
a minute.
for that.
Wait a minute.
My mom...
Is your mom's one of the most moral people you know?
Yes. My mom's very
And so your
moral.
daughter's a very moral person?
Yes, she is.
And she's not like you at all.
I'm very moral. What are you talking about?
I'm the opposite.
I just get in trouble. I'm moral, though. But then
All right.
I don't want to be
So,
moral.
Jocelyn, you're not near a mic, so we'll report what you say. Give me 3 words, 3 adjectives that describe your mom.
Tell me, Jocelyn.
Now, think about it.
I can't
And be honest.
capitalize on that.
Don't soft pedal it at all.
I mean, she's loving, but she's crazy.
So crazy and
You're
loving.
going to make my daughter cry.
It's 2 words. It's 2 words.
You're gonna make
You
my
got
daughter
one more?
cry.
Crazy and loving, but there's like no in between. You either get the crazy or you get the loving.
Okay. There's got to be a 3rd word.
I don't know.
I'm my daughter's best friend.
Oh, that's not good.
Yes, it is. She doesn't tell me all the gossip, but I try to get all of it. Right, Jocelyn? She calls me. You know what she calls me?
I think
I'm
once
gonna
you're
tell
best
you-
friends with a kid, it's you lose.
No.
20 years old. I'm not even a kid.
My daughter's going to be 21 in September. That's my baby, and I love her. And guess what? I know everything about my daughter. I know her friends. I know every gossip. I know who's fighting. I know who's not fighting. I know my kids' lives.
In a way, that's kind
Okay.
of like a good thing because if anything was to happen, she knows everything already.
I know everything about my kids.
Okay.
No matter how
there's
busy I
there's
am-
a big difference between knowing everything and being your best friend.
I'm her best friend, too.
She's my best friend.
Okay.
Bam.
I don't know. I find that weird.
Why?
There's a bunch of people that are
Because
best
I think there should be a clear demarcation between.
We had that because when she was growing up, we were not best friends. I was her mom. And when
So it
she
only developed
graduated...
after high school.
After high school, now you can see who I am.
Well, actually, not
All
even
right.
after high school. Mostly when I got sick.
All right, this is a great question. Ready for the 2 of you?
Okay.
If I asked each of you
Mm-hmm.
what was the worst thing that Jocelyn ever did to you, would you have the same story?
What was the worst thing I ever did to you?
I think I have the worst thing she ever did to me, but it's not a worst thing. You know
No,
what I mean?
well, I
What
mean,
was it? I want to hear it.
The worst thing you ever did to me was with my sacred child, a child of God, that I fucking raised to the best of my ability to be a goody two shoes because she was. When I found out she smoked weed in high school for the first time, I could not believe my ears.
But that is not even that bad compared to what every.
so no, wait. It's the worst thing.
My child.
I'm not saying it has to be a bad thing. The worst thing that she's experienced, even though that wasn't really terrible, the worst thing was that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now it was only because you built up an image.
No.
Hello.
Hello.
The image could be correct, but the
Hello.
image was your daughter was an angel. She would be incapable of that.
My daughter has been a beautiful angel.
So when you
angelic
learned that she
princess.
did that,
I was shocked.
shocked.
Yeah.
Okay. So from that moment when you
Mhm.
learned that she smokes pot, to the time you first shared pot with your daughter, how long did it take? How much time passed?
I want to say a year.
A year.
Okay. So what were the circumstances there?
I needed to see if she was I needed her to understand. I'm a
You were
type
teaching her responsible use?
of responsible use. I was teaching her responsible use. I was teaching her not to be connected emotionally to anything. I was teaching her that like we can kick it, but you have to be responsible. This is not for free. You can kick it, but you have to handle your responsibilities first.
First. Okay, prioritize.
Yeah,
Not
and
only
then you
that-
can kick it.
Not only that,
Because I handle my responsibilities first and I kick it. You know what I'm saying? This is not for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
you were also trying to make sure how I was under.
Yes.
You wanted to make sure that I was safe when I do that stuff, and wanted to see how I am when I'm that kind of person.
But on a good note, you know, now with her medical condition, I want to say medical marijuana has changed her life. Like she's able to cope with all of this better.
At first, I wasn't smoking, so it wasn't like I was doing it all the time. But as soon as like things started getting worse, I did start doing it, especially with my nausea.
Yes, Jocelyn, because I can hear you.
Oh, so with my nausea.
Huh?
With my nausea,
Yeah, she's been struggling with like
eating.
eating because she's coming down on her medication and it's causing her withdrawals. So you know, it's been a lot of up and downs. It's been a lot of up and downs, but you know what? Regardless of the fact that we're very positive, and my business is always consulted by my kids, like especially her. Like I always tell her what my ideas are, where I'm going with this. Like they're a part of my life, like that. Like it's about them. Like I'm just their slave sometimes. You know what I mean? Even though I party.
All right. So this is where I get Serge involved.
Serge.
One more time.
Why?
Serge, because I miss you,
Why?
man. We have a bromance.
I
We
just
gotta
saw
keep
you
it alive.
yesterday.
I know. What the fuck is up with that?
Why
shit?
do I have to be
Why don't we play a
involved?
song? Let's play a song. Gino Lexus.
Serge, I want to know
Gino
what's the worst thing you did
Lexus.
to your mother, man.
I can't think of anything, man. I'm a normal person.
I'm gonna ask some serious questions right now, but I'm gonna.
I can't think of
We're
anything
gonna play
I
a
did
song
bad.
right now because I'm gonna.
What did
go
I do?
pee.
Let me think. I guess when I got arrested,
Okay.
You didn't do
but
that
I didn't do that
her.
to them.
Can we play a song?
But it was a big disappointment.
Yeah, that was pretty much. That's
Let's
pretty
play a
much
song.
it.
Yo, I think that was. The
Oh no!
first
Wait,
time
when
for
I
my
when I
mom.
got left back in 8th grade because I didn't show up for
I
half
never
the
got
year.
left back, yo.
Oh, that's hurtful.
Yeah, I didn't show up for like half the year,
What were you doing?
so I had to go to summer school.
Oh, so you didn't really actually have to repeat it. You,
No, I just had to.
Oh my god.
Spend
you-
summer and-
skin of your teeth. You got
Yeah.
by. What were
That
you
was pretty
doing
much
when
it.
you were 13 and 14 years
I was
old?
just staying at home playing video games.
And
Probably
jacking off.
jacking my meat right around that time.
Of course he was. He was
Yeah.
just thinking about nasty shit. Yo, you know what? One time I ran into my brother. You know what? Let's play a song and I'll tell you what I found my brother doing.
What?
It can't go on the air.
It can go in the air, but like we're gonna play a song. Let's play a song from Gino Lexus.
You want to tell us during the song
No, we're
so
gonna
that
play
we
a
can
song.
judge whether it goes on the
We're
air.
gonna play a song,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go pee,
There you go.
and then I'm gonna come into the story of what I found my brother doing. And I think a lot of guys, you guys did this shit too.
Oh, is this going to be like a scene out of the Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Sorry, brother, I have to talk about you today.
What you caught him doing?
Yes,
Red-handed, as they say.
red-handed.
You caught him red-handed.
I caught him red-handed.
All right. Now that you told the audience you're going to go to the bathroom, could you please go to the bathroom?
Damn, hold
All right, we'll run this Gino Lexus track featuring Theo Lane.
Sponsored by the Myers from PA.
This is off of the Living the
Chopping
Dream
Up with George here.
album,
Flow Higher Radio.
produced by Young Pun, executively produced by me.
Yes, you can.
You already know what it is.
Okay.
That's right, I'ma give all I got. Why you wanna hate on me? I could change the whole wide world and make it better for my girl. Still you wanna hate
pain comes every time you try to make a difference. When you wanna change the world, hunted by the opposition, never singing about bros. Many people in the prison, stuck in the system, some innocent. Holidays we missing them, sending them pictures of their seed, reminiscing of a family in need of a father overseas, fighting for the free just to come back to more problems. No jobs, no friends, hardly one surround them. Body full of aches, meantime victims of a quake, waiting for a government that changes every time they wait. Same thing in the States, occupied Wall Street. Same thing across the city, same thing it cost me. You wanted war, now they got the people at war. Voice with a cause right before declaring martial law. That's why
I'ma give all I got. Why you wanna hate on me? I could change the whole wide world and make it better for my girl. Still you gonna hate on me, so I'm living the hustle. I'm living the dream. I could change the whole wide world and make it better for my girl. Still you gonna hate on me.
learn through my history to never come with arms open. Hoping to see you fail, got their doors closing. Rather see you wild than the cold toes frozen. Write 'em off, game over. No tokens, but not can't have that. Got responsibilities and I ain't spitting trash rap. Sat back, analyzed the whole situation. The generation poison, no education. Don't say I can save them, but I'm always watching. Message in the rhythm to provide a better option. We locked in the state, they controlling us with hate. Make it okay to kids, so they growing up the same. I don't need the fame, I don't need the jewels or the groupies. High price lawyer, in case a hater try to sue me. Probably make news week before I hit the source. And it ain't hype, better than most, so the stores, that's why.
I'ma give all I got. Why you wanna hate on me? I could change the whole wide world and make it better for my girl. Still you gonna hate on me, so I'm living the hustle. I'm living the dream. I could change the whole wide world and make it better for my girl. Still you gonna hate on me. From the slums of New York City to the city of the Bay, on the grind for a while. Today's a brand new day. I don't need no pity, cause I'm about to be on. I've been working overtime, and I'm waiting so long. Ooh, oh, I've been struggling for so long, and I'm gonna make it, yeah, and I'm gonna make it. Gino, help me say. That's right. I'ma give all I got. Why you wanna hate on me? I could change the whole wide world. I could change it. Girl. Still you gonna hate on me. No matter what comes my way. I'm living the dream. I'm living my dream. I could change the whole wide world and make it better for me. Said I guess I will. Still you gonna hate on me.
Yeah,
Help me out.
you know, see, no matter how far you try to go, you always gonna have opposition. So instead of worrying about the opposition, just keep moving forward. I mean, be preaching, but
Hear me.
it's what we do.
Help me say.
Yeah.
Yo, 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 yo. It's Chopping It Up with Star Shear with our sponsors, the Myers from PA, Ohio Radio. We just heard Gino Lexus.
What track?
Yeah,
Yeah?
that was living a dream.
Living the dream. Gino Lexus, we miss you. I can't wait to see you out there. I'm just getting very anxious. I miss my people. I miss Tampa. I miss all of us. You know, we have all of our collaborations are still on the go. You know, I was like looking at our tickets for Beats and Eats, so stay tuned for Beats and Eats because it's going to happen. Right?
Yeah,
It's going to
eventually.
happen, Serge.
Eventually,
Yeah?
whenever they decide to let everybody back in, finally.
Yeah. So we're still doing Beats and Eats.
And we're very hopeful, though we don't have word yet. Hopeful.
And we're still waiting on everything that's going to
Like
happen.
Tangra.
And we have Tangra, and we have a big project coming up in July. So stay tuned for all of that. You're going to get to see Ohio Radio on another level. So follow us for that. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah?
That's pretty much it.
Thank you for watching, guys. The Richard Myers from PA. He's going to give us another... more information update on Saturday.
Make sure you tune in on Saturday.
Listen, you gotta tune in because once you know law, because I know law, like I hit Richard up with some bullshit, and he has to kind of like
straighten you out.
Yeah, but I'm a very wise woman, and I always find an opportunity because I like to challenge people with information like that, and like sometimes there's things that people will never think of, and I'll ask somebody that knows about it and reach out to him. If you're going through a divorce, employment law, whatever the fuck you're going through, you need somebody that's going to stand up to you that has the passion to pursue your rights.
Enough said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Myers Firm PA. Look me up on Facebook page. You can even make appointments through my Facebook page.
Maybe.
G8TRATTY on Instagram.
Just follow my Facebook, Instagram, *share. You can find this information there for Higher Radio. We're going to be coming back really hard like we used to be. Jocelyn Rubio. She's a singer. She's not going to sing today. That's my daughter. She's here today. And my boyfriend, David, is here as well. And he's a barber. So go check his shit out, too. And I'll see you next week.
You're on camera.
Yeah, David, you're on camera. You've been on camera the whole time.
Yeah, we saw us back there.
You guys saw yourselves. All right, guys. I was trying to have a band tonight, but you know what? It worked out this way because it did. It was a family night. We had some situations. And Lucy Lou? Watch me and Lucy
She's
Lou.
in
real soon.
Vegas or California by now.
Yeah, she's in Vegas, California. But guess what? Me and Lucy Lou got something coming for you guys. So you guys want to tune in. Maybe we'll give you a little surprise on the fan page.
There you go.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
You take listen, baby.
Episode 43?
Who knows what the episode is? But
I think it was 42, 43, something.
no matter what episode we are the pregame.